Hey guys, it's Down from Rossoneri TV, and here with Cristiano Oliveira from Sirius XM to talk to us with the AC Milan game versus Roma today, which ended 0-0. Now, Cristiano, just wanted to say, we know Milan picked up a draw versus Roma, and they did pick up a clean sheet against Roma and Napoli as well, which is pretty amazing considering the backline that they have with Bonera, Armero, Zapata, which was Rami versus Napoli for you, if you're anybody's wondering. And and yeah, so a pretty makeshift backline. But we do have Diego Lopez in that, which is a good safety net, if you ask me.
Yeah.
What do you feel that the defense? How do you feel they impacted the game? They did keep a clean sheet, and it's very unexpected considering their talent. How do you feel they impacted both games for Napoli and Roma?
I think it goes hand in hand. You mentioned before Diego Lopez. I think sometimes your goalkeeper is only as good as your defense, and your defense is only as good as your goalkeeper. And in today's instance, for that matter, I thought they played well. The back four played well, but at the end of the day, you had that backbone. You had Diego Lopez, who was probably the best player for AC Milan on the pitch today against AS Roma. Yes, it wasn't the result that AC Milan, the Rossoneri, were hoping to get out of the Stadio Olimpico, but let's not forget, a point is a point, and they're only the second team this season to go into the Stadio Olimpico, and they're able to walk away with the draw. The second team to take points away from AS Roma, who's been playing exceptionally well at home, and everyone knows that right now they're up top, right there, 3 points behind Juventus for the Scudetto. So all in all, good performance for AC Milan. Not the best result, but you know what? You get a draw away at Stadio Olimpico. Not bad.
Yeah, exactly. And as you mentioned, getting a point at the Stadio Olimpico versus Roma, arguably one of the best teams in the Serie A right now, alongside Juventus, which are on completely another level. We were missing DeCilio, Abate, Alex, three starters in the lineup for the defense, and we still managed to get 4 points against Napoli and Roma. And if you asked me before these fixtures, I would have said no way that's going to happen, because considering the way Milan have been playing earlier and with a backline like that against such very well formed attacking teams, I don't think something like that would be possible. But it happened, and I'm very pleased with it. So yeah, I'm pretty pretty happy about that.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, you should be. You should be. I mean, you're missing big time players in the back, and this is not the AC Milan of the late '80s or even of the 2000s stacked up and down. But you are missing some key players. But the one thing that Milan still does have is quality players coming off the bench with tons of experience, and they showed it over these last two games. They were able to shut down two of the best attacking offenses in the Serie A. Impressive. But they had the one thing back there that was able to keep the ball away from the back of the net, and that was Mr. Diego Lopez, who's been playing well of late. Guy that's been under a lot of criticism, but of late he's played well. He's picked up his game.
exactly. Next question, we got El Shaarawy sitting on the bench, as you mentioned, the quality players coming off the bench. Arguably one of AC Milan's best players, Il Farone, only 22 now, I believe, and he was on the bench. Bonaventura starting over him on the left side. Do you feel this is something maybe going on with him and Inzaghi? Maybe there's a deal going on. There was rumors that he would go to Dortmund for a swap with Immobile. They closed down those rumors right away. Maybe something internal, like something like that, or maybe he's just not performing up to standards. What do you feel about the situation?
I just think, to be totally honest, I think this is a player here, a case that we have that he's more interested in trying to fix his hair than his performance on the pitch. I think he should focus a little bit more on his performances than his hair. Like I was saying, this is a player that even before Inzaghi got there, he was already having a bad year. He hasn't had a good year since 2011-12 season, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, because 12, 13, 14, 15. Yeah, so since the 11, 12, he hasn't done crap. I know he started off last season with an injury, and he hasn't been the same player, and that was under multiple coaches. So I can't really pinpoint it to an Inzaghi incident, but I just think this is a player that has not been the same player. I don't know. I'm not at practice with him day in, day out, but you could definitely tell he has not been one of AC Milan's best players. He might be one of the biggest names on the team, especially after the big guys left a couple seasons ago. So he still has that cachet. But as far as his performances on the field, he's been way, way below what we were accustomed to seeing him for that one year. And even going back to that one spectacular year that he had, that was 1 year, and he only went off for a couple of months. It wasn't like he had a season from day one to the very last day that he performed at the top level. I believe when Balotelli came in, his game totally changed. He wasn't the goal scorer that he was in the first half of the season. So it's a player that a lot of things are expected of him, but yet still to prove that he is that type of player. A lot of people put these price tags on him. You hear rumors with AC Milan, with Real Madrid, I apologize. You bring up Dortmund, and you've heard of rumors of him going to Italy at other times. He just hasn't been that player on the pitch as to what people want to describe him. And they want to put this big price tag and this big name behind him. But he's just not, to me, he hasn't been that player yet. So if I was those teams, I'd be very, very wary and splashing out big loads of money for him. I think I try to do a Berlusconi deal, which is get everybody on the free, and hopefully, if he performs, you cash in on him lately. I think that, later. I think that's what's going to have to happen with him. If I were me, I should say, not what's going to have to happen with him. That's what I would do if I was another team, because maybe a change of scenery might do him well.
Yeah, exactly. You brought up some very good points there. Talking about El Shaarawy's performance, he has been okay this season, but he hasn't been anything special as he did in the previous seasons, like you mentioned. He did have that breakout season where he was just fantastic. For his age, he was completely dominating the Serie A. He was supposed to be this next big thing. And to his own right, he still has a lot of potential in him, and he is very young. So hopefully he picks it up, and hopefully he can change his game a little bit, maybe adapt more to certain situations. We all know his pride for AC Milan. He rejected plenty of deals. When he scored that one goal earlier on this season, he went on his knees almost crying because of how much it meant to him. So he clearly does love Milan, and he doesn't want to leave Milan. So hopefully he can find his feet, figure out his form, get something going, and either Berlusconi decides to sell him, which I hope doesn't really happen because I feel we need to keep our youth, or he just ends up performing and it's better for Milan in general.
Yeah, he definitely needs to pick up his game if Milan want to finish in the top three and hopefully qualify for the UEFA Champions League. But, I don't know if El Shaarawy's that type of player. I like him as a player, but I don't know if he's that type of player that's going to be able to carry a team. They're missing, the old-school Pirlos, the Rui Costas, the Kakás. They just don't have those playmakers that they've had in years previous. And I think that's one of the biggest problems with today's AC Milan. They have Montelivo, they have De Jong, who got very fortunate today not getting a penalty called on him in the box because that was a clear handball. Paulie and other guys that they inserted into the middle. And what's my man, number 4 from Ghana? What's his name? Salim Muntari. They have a lot of, good players, but nothing, an exceptional player, not that type of playmaker, a guy that's going to carry the ball and get his teammates involved and create magic like we've seen in years previous. So that's one of their biggest, faults this season.
All right, thank you. You brought up some very good points there as well. I'm pretty much with you on almost all those statements that you made. Milan, they need to bring in a good influx of young talent, or at least I can't see them spending on these big talents that are already at their prime. So hopefully, youth is the way. They said youth is the way a while ago. Way. Now I guess maybe they're trying to bring an essence of that back. Maybe they're trying to figure out some type of deal that they can be going on. I don't know, but
bro, unless it's on the cheap, they're not bringing anyone in. They've shown you that so far over the last 2 years. They talked about their youth movement that you just mentioned, but yet they keep doing the opposite. They bring in a bum-ass Fernando Torres who can't hit the goal if you just leave him alone in front of it. Just totally, right now it seems like Galliani and Berlusconi are trying to go out there and get players on a cheap rather than spending the money that they have to spend and go and build themselves a quality team, whether it's young or a team with veterans full of experience. They're just not there yet. And to me, the biggest thing is Berlusconi needs to open up his big fat wallet. Stop being cheap. This is AC Milan we're talking about, guys. Okay? This is not Inter Milan, AS Roma. This is AC Milan, a team that wins Scudettes and a team that wins international cups. So please, Mr. Berlusconi, if you're listening to this, I'm telling you, pick up your wallet and open it. Bring in quality players. Stop being cheap.
Very, very good points there again. Thank you, Cristiano, for coming on.
No problem, bro. It's a pleasure.
Brought up some very good points, like I said again. But yeah, I completely agree. But yeah, just to end off the show, it meant a lot for you to come here. It's a big opportunity to have you on the show. And Milan picked up the 0-0 draw, 1 point. Could have been worse, could have been better. Thank you for joining us. It's been
no problem at all, man. No problem at all. Thanks for having me.
Cristiano at 10CO10 on Twitter, or a SiriusXM. He has a lot of other podcasts that he does as well. Just check him on Twitter. You can find all the links to those. And yeah, thank you for coming. It has been Adamo and Cristiano from Rossoneri TV, and as usual, Forza Milan.
Arrivederci.